want to talk tech, though, for the moment. Amazon introducing 2 new versions of the Kindle today, trying to attract a wider audience and fight extinction from the Apple iPad movement. With more on whether or not he thinks that Amazon has a chance, we bring in Bob Rice. He is an angel investor and a managing general partner at Tangent Capital. Bob, always great to see you. Thanks for coming in.
Pleasure to be here.
Do you think the Kindle has a chance? I mean, it's offering a cheaper alternative, and I think of people just like my dad. All he wants to do is read the papers. He wants to read his magazines.
Right.
He's not into gaming.
Right.
So can that demographic carry the Kindle?
For a few quarters, of course it can. It's a single-purpose device. They're very smart to go down market with the pricing because they can't compete with the iPad in the long run. They don't have an operating system on the thing. It's not really a multi-purpose computer.
So you're essentially saying there's room for 2 players in this space, but nobody's going to care about Kindle a year from now.
Correct. No one's going to. Well, what they are going to care about is the rumor is that Motorola is going to come out with a Droid tablet, and that will be competition for the iPad. The Kindle isn't. The iPad right now, by the way, is driving all sorts of new innovation. New companies are being built explicitly on the back of the iPad. There's a new little company called Comixology, which just came out recently. It's a little teeny company. They've already got 4 million comic book downloads, which is a meaningful percentage of all the comic book industry in the United States. So that's how rapidly the iPad is changing industry.
All right, well, one big pull of the iPad we know is for this gaming activity. We just alluded to it. Maybe my dad doesn't want to do gaming, but a lot of people do.
They sure do.
This race to buy gaming sites is heating up. I mean, unconfirmed word on the street that Google has already put money into Zynga, sort of trying to cause a divorce between Zynga and Facebook. Is Google going to be successful at this?
No, I don't think so. I think Google is barking up the wrong tree here. But it is fascinating to see that Zynga, which is a gaming platform, is generating something on the order of $500 million a year of sales of virtual goods. Human beings are paying real money to buy virtual goods to use inside of a game, which is a kind of a phenomenon that no one would have predicted.
Well, we've spoken to developers before, and they say, you know what, you could buy a Porsche online, a virtual Porsche, I don't know, for $3, and you save a heck of a lot of money, and maybe you get some of the same buzz as you would, but you don't have to drop 80 grand.
Well, that's right. A lot of what's interesting about why the economics of this work relate to how Zynga and Facebook users relate to each other. Because they're in the Facebook universe, and you and I actually know each other in our real lives, if I leave you a gift of a virtual good, you have a little bit of an obligation to pay it back to me, and that's driving a big set of economics here.
One interesting thing is, speaking of Google, you say some pretty harsh words, actually, for Eric Schmidt, the CEO of Google, who is seen as really a great leader. You say you've never seen a CEO do less with more. What about if I come at it from the other point of view and say, what if he's doing the right thing by holding steady, the don't fix it if it ain't broke mentality?
Well, if that's what it is, it's fine, but that doesn't make him a great CEO. It makes him, it makes him a caretaker. And frankly, I do kind of stick with my opinion on this. He came into the company after it had already learned its trick. It's still a one-trick pony. It's a heck of a trick. It's a trick everyone envies, but it's one trick. And he has not been successful taking all of that money and all of that revenue, $25 billion a year of revenue, and starting to generate a genuine new business with it.
What about Google Music? Is that not new enough for you, Bob?
As I said, a genuine business with it. I mean, he's replicating what other people are doing. He's looking around. He's looking at the social gaming we were just discussing. He's looking at telephone applications. He's looking at music applications. He's looking at ebook applications. But he hasn't yet been able to find a rhythm in terms of where is their next big business going to come from.
Bob, you see tons of ideas. That's one of the advantages of being an angel investor. Obviously, you're assuming some risk as well. What should Google be doing?
Honestly, I don't have great advice for Google, but except that they need to be focusing on, I think, the enterprise space and not having Facebook envy. They've got Facebook envy. Facebook is a teeny company by comparison to Google. They're driving 1/20th of the revenue that Google is driving. I think what Google needs to do is enter the enterprise space and go after the business world where they have sustainable revenues, not try to recreate a social graph that they just don't have.
Bob, thanks so much for stopping by. Always love to see you. Bob Rice joining us there. He is a managing general partner at Tangent Capital.